This podcast is brought to you by San Diego County Toyota Dealers. We've got what it takes. Fix Auto, Corky's Pest Control. Welcome to the second basketball podcast. We've got Tommy, Aaron, and Christian here. Round two. But this is technically this is like our first regular podcast. Yeah. So excited to have this. So this is how this is normally going to work. We're going to start with our top 10 list. Then we're going to go into our game balls. Each of these guys have a couple guys they want to shout out from last week in their games. Then we have our dunk or dish, kind of our little debate segment. Gets a little heated. Gets a little warm.
First time I'm able to dunk.
Then we will go to some game picks for the weekend. So we're going to start with those top 10 lists. Aaron, who is on your list?
Well, of course, we have Foothills at number one. Had a really good week. Got it off, actually. Had a bye week. But now they're back in the Grossmont tournament. Big game tonight versus Torrey Pines at Grossmont. My number two team, St. Augustine. They also had the week off, but they had a really good showing in their first week. Only loss is to Mater Dei of Santa Ana. My number three team is Torrey Pines now. That's the big flip in my top 10. It's more so what Cathedral hasn't been able to do than what Torrey Pines has done. Torrey Pines won the Horseman tournament in West Hills. Cathedral has gotten off to a little bit of a ragged start. They've been in the Tart Classic, which is obviously a lot better competition than some of the local teams have faced, but they've really struggled outside of Brandon McCoy. So Cathedral slips to 4.
Let's say Cathedral's also been missing a couple pieces up until this week with their football players being out.
Javon Figueroa will definitely help out.
Yeah,
it could help them. Obviously, they're going to have their chance to prove, their medal coming up in the Torrey Pine and Under Armour Holiday Classic.
We're still at the beginning of all of this, so just keep going.
And then the rest of it, of course, is what it was last week. La Jolla Country Day at 5. It's probably going to move up a little bit to Vista at 6, Helix at 7, Mission Hills. Obviously, I've got them in because I just don't know where to slot them yet until I figure out how they're going to move forward until they get Ed Finzi and Warren Washington back. And then the rest of my top 10 remains the same with, who was my top 10? That's right, Poway and Canyon Crest. Canyon Crest, we're going to get into dunk or dish, and that's going to be quite a discussion because I really like the Ravens this year.
All right, so I'm going to give you the San Diego Prep Insider Crew top 10. It's very similar to Aaron's. Number 1, we got Foothills Christian, 2, Cathedral, 3, Saints, 4, Torrey Pines, 5, La Jolla Country Day, Number 6 is Helix, 7 is Vista, 8, RB, 9, Orange Glen, and 10, La Jolla.
Some really good teams on the bottom end there. Actually, I really like Rancho Bernardo, and they're going to move into my top 10 once I finish it after the La Jolla Country Day. After the Torrey Pines game. I really like what J.J. Overton's doing. And Orange Glen is in a tournament in Hawaii right now. They won their first game of the tournament, so it'll be interesting to see how they do out there.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell with those. I was kind of just didn't pay attention to this case. I have no idea. Skill all those teams from Hawaii. But going on to our game balls now, Christian, who are some guys who stood out in your mind from last week?
I want to give 2 game balls out. Dos pelotas, por favor. First one to Carter Pluchet from Carlsbad. He got 18 points in a 2-point win versus Coronado. Carlsbad, kind of a down year last year for them. So any win is a big win, but when you can eke out a close win like that, that's a huge confidence booster to me.
Especially against a good team like against Coronado. Yes.
And for a young kid like Carter to come up with a big amount of points, to me, says, hey, the tide's starting to turn for Carlsbad. The Lancers are starting to get things back. We could be looking for more of them this year. Okay. My second game ball goes to Justin Anderson from University City. He put up 12 points versus Valley Center. 12 points might not sound like a big one, but this snaps a 3-game losing streak for the Centurions. And to me, sort of says the same kind of thing with Carlsbad. This is a turning moment for University City. They kind of have been on a downward trend the last few years. But that ability to say, hey, look, we're not going to get into that rut again. We're going to stay above 500. We're going to keep winning. We're going to do big things. That's why I'm standing out from Justin Anderson. So Carter Pluchet, Justin Anderson, those are my game balls.
Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to give 2 as well. My first one's going to go to Matt Bender, the sophomore at La Jolla Country Day. He was the X factor in the Tories championship run in the North County Classic. He had 14 points in the finals, but it was the size at 6'7.5" that gave almost every team that they faced trouble. He had some big games early in the week as well, 27 points and 13 rebounds. So Matt Bender, great week. Congratulations, you get my game ball number 1. My game ball number 2 goes to the team that made it to the finals against them, and it goes to Taurus Samuels of Vista. Taurus against Poway had a really off shooting night, but came up with 9 points in 90 seconds in the end to eke out that win against Poway for Vista.
Little Reggie Miller moment there.
Exactly. It was, he struggled all night, hit 2 jumpers, and then went to the foul line and hit every one of his foul shots in the end. And then he followed it up by scoring 22 points in a 63-19 rout of Sage Creek. And Sage Creek had come in with a little bit of confidence, and Taurus outscored their entire team. So you've got to give somebody credit who does that. And then he followed it up with a big game against Rancho Bernardo in a win against them to make it to the finals. So Taurus gets my game ball for the week.
All right, so now we move on to our dunk or dish. Again, this is the debate segment of the show. Very exciting. First dunk or dish we've got. If you could make an all-star team with each league, the Western League would have the best squad. Christian.
I'm going to dish this one. I think that the one factor that the Western League would have is vertical size over other leagues, but you got to be kidding me. Even if you split Coastal as it is and you don't do one Coastal, each Coastal would have a great team. Palomar would have a great team. Avocado would have a great team. So I got to dish it because it would not be a runaway. I think that you're looking for Brandon McCoy is going to lead this iconic Western League team with Tayshaun Cherry and Robbie Robinson. And it just wouldn't, to me, stand out because we're talking about a lot of stars, but only 5 get to play. So if you're talking about best 5 from any league, it's got to be Dish because I don't think Western League can come up with a hands-down best 5.
So one dish. What about the next one?
I'm going to dish this one as well. I think that the argument that the Coastal League's top 5 would give with the Western League all it can handle and could probably beat them. The main difference, I think, would be at point guard. I think the Western League starting point guard would probably be Boogie Ellis from Mission Bay, who's very talented sophomore, but he would be having to match up against Jalen Hands from Foothills Christian. There's no matchup in San Diego for Jalen Hands. You've got to double, triple team him, take the ball out of his hands, and his IQ is so high that he just elevates everyone around him. And we've had this discussion about players, how can they elevate the pieces around them. And Foothills has without Jalen Hands, they would be a solid team, but they wouldn't be world beaters like they are right now. So I think that him with that Coastal League team that will probably include Ryan Langborg, Matt Bender, Michael Diaz, Richard Polanco, they would give the Western League team a run for their money.
All right, so we're going to pass twice on this one. Moving on to our next topic, we've got Mission Hills is the most improved team from last season. Aaron, is that a dunk or a dish?
Hard pass. It's a dish. Like I said earlier, this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about Canyon Crest and what Canyon Crest has been able to do. Because Mission Hills has come out of the gate 4-4. And with the team that they have right now, which was basically be the team they had from last year plus the Olave brothers, they really struggle to score the basketball. They're a really good defensive unit, but they've had 2 games this year where they've scored over 70 points. And the other games have been really defensive struggles or blowouts where they just haven't been able to keep pace offensively. Canyon Crest has been able to have almost a complete turnaround from last year, this point, with the same players that they had. And of course, they've got 2 transfers waiting in the wing, just like Mission Hills has 2 transfers waiting in the wing. But I think that with the core that they had returning, that what they've been able to do has been a lot more impressive than what Mission Hills has done so far.
Christian, what do you think?
I'm going to also have to dish this one. There's one word in here, improved, that is kind of the key to me. It's not how much did they gain, how much did they, because you can talk about all these transfers. We don't know.
Yeah.
The simple fact is they haven't played yet. Some teams are out to slow starts. We're talking about a team that has actually improved. And improvement to me is, like Aaron said, players that have been there since last year and shown tangible gains on their ability to score. I'm not going to get on the Canyon Crest train and say that Ryan Michaels and company are the most improved team in the county, but there's a lot of teams like that you can make the case for, even a Country Day. They won D2 last year, but they got so many kids coming back that have gotten empirically better than last year. So there's a lot of teams in the county that I think have enough returners. You can't look at it and say, oh, they've got these 3 great transfers that makes them a better team, because we just don't know yet. So for now, I'm going to have to be a little bit of a hater on Mission Hill. Not even a hater. I'm just going to stand back and say, Show me what you've done.
Wait and see.
Show me what you've done.
All right, so moving on to our final Dunker Dish. This is something that we saw a lot of leagues realign. We always see divisions realign now. So not just divisions, but leagues should realign every single season based on performance. What do you think, Aaron?
I'm going to dunk this one. I think that, and I don't think it should be preseason league realignments. Actually, take that back. It would have to be preseason league realignments. But I do think that at times it's good to look at teams and see what they lose because, for instance, with the league realignment this year, Morse and Lincoln are, actually Morse is now in that top league of the Western League. And Morse is just absolutely decimated. I mean, they lost, Robert Young to a knee injury, several players to transfer, Elijah Seals, who transferred from Mater Dei Catholic to Grades. And, they would be better suited to be in that second league, the league with Scripps, Sarah, La Jolla. They would probably contend better there than being, outgunned in the larger league. And I think that sometimes when you look at some of these leagues over the course of years, there are teams that just don't have chances to win because they're just going to be in a position where they don't have the talent. And, if you realign the leagues and, put them, in competitive balance, perhaps you would start to see some of those lower end teams have an opportunity to win some games. It would also fit in with the competitive realignment of the divisions. So you'd have all the D4 teams in one league. They play against each other, and we get a better preview of what's to come later on down the line. So, it's a novel concept. I'm not sure if CIF, is looking towards that, but it would be something to explore.
Christian?
Absolutely, 100% dish this. This just to me just smacks of what are we really trying to do here? What is the ultimate goal of all of this? Are we trying to be fun and balanced and everyone gets a participation medal, or are we trying to produce really good basketball here? I don't disagree that there are teams that routinely and consistently get the bum end of the deal and have to go up against a great team year after year after year and just don't produce those wins. But if you're talking about every single year realigning, to me, there's just no more reason to have leagues. And then you brought that up with a one division, one league. Put all the D4 teams in one league, all the D3 teams in one league, and just let them kind of round robin it, play each other out, play that level, and then you can realign from there. But if you're saying to me that every year Western League is going to have Saints Cathedral Foothill or Saints Cathedral, one other, like a Kearney or someone like that, and then there's going to be a revolving door of four other teams, what's the point? I'm saying that if you're going to boil this down to what you need to do is you need to generate some pride in winning your division. And that comes from knowing what division you're in. I bet if you went around the county right now and you asked every kid, probably about 80% of the kids would even know what division their own team is in because so many schools have changed in the last few years. So you gotta create some pride and, hey, look, we're not gonna punt this season. They'll bump us down to Eastern League, then we'll get that league title because we win it because we're good. Say, hey, kids, look, this has got to be a 2 or a 3 year goal here to win this league. We got to build for something, and that creates long-term success. So I'm going to.
But I don't think it creates long-term success because you get those 2 to 3 year spans where you finally build up to success. Then that group graduates, and then you're right back at the bottom. But you're again facing off against teams that perennially have been able to rebuild on the fly. I would much rather like to see a team like Foothills play against the best of the best every single year in league and then do it all over again in the playoffs, as opposed to getting gimme wins like they were, during that stretch where they were in the Sunset League and they were just beating up on the likes of Chula Vista Lutheran and the Sisters of the Blind,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Christian's saying here. It gets too confusing. It gets a little confusing.
I agree.
And
With that.
No matter what league you're in, there's always going to be that hierarchy. But I do agree with you. Foothills Christian did outgrow the Sunset League, and I think in that case, okay, we make a switch because
I'll say this. Let's do a 2-year plan. I think that I can think if after 2 years you have demonstrated we are a last place team in this league, then you can move.
You know what? Compromise accepted. I think that would be a better compromise. Yes.
Look at that. SDPI.
Happy
we make
family.
friends.
Happy family. So we're about to make enemies again because we're about to do our game picks. So the way this works,
man.
we're picking games from this weekend. We're going to start with some two games that are on Friday, and we count Monday as with the weekend today.
Can we just say to all of you viewers who might be carryovers from fall season, I'm not finishing.
Scorecard restarts.
I'm not
Scorecard
finishing
restarts.
last this year.
He will.
I'm finishing in second.
Okay. I take that as a personal shot at me. So on Friday, we've got Santa Fe Christian taking on Westview. I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one, Aaron.
Santa Fe Christian.
Fly Eagles Fly, baby. They're a team that we're talking about. You're talking about that cycle where you graduate. They didn't they graduated 1 or 2 shooters. This is a good Eagles team this year.
Yes.
Next game we're going to go to is Oceanside at University City. I'm going to go with the Pirates on this one, Aaron.
I'm actually going with Oceanside as well. University City has been a nice story, getting off that 3-game losing streak, but they started off the year pretty strong. They still don't have an answer inside for Donovan La'ai, and I think that's where the game pivots. So I'm going to go with the Pirates as well.
I'm going to go with the home team. I like the home. I think this is a toss-up game. I agree that Donovan is a great presence inside. Also, he's on our first team all-county offense.
Yeah, just got tweeted out.
Check that out. But to me, this one is such a closely matched up game that I just got to take the home team. Okay. So I'll go with University City.
All right, going to Monday. A lot of these are tournament games. We have San Ysidro and Ramona. This is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Ysidro on this one. Just San Ysidro over Ramona. What do you think?
What's with this accord between you and I? Because I'm going to go with San Ysidro as well. Man, we're just ganging up on you, man.
I'll take the clean sweep, please.
Oh, wow. Okay, so all of us are on San Ysidro. So when Ramona beats San Ysidro, all of you Bulldogs can tweet at us. And
explain that to the...
Yeah, so that's another thing, something during football season that we started. If we all pick a game and we are all wrong, we will in some way, shape, or form make it up to you, whether it's us going to your practice and then doing a podcast there, or me getting pied in the face, or again, like I said, I offered to take a kickoff with no blockers against the team, but thank you, Torrey Pines, for being too classy for taking me up on that and just letting me interview the kids instead. I probably would not be sitting here if I was actually allowed to do that. Anyway,
speaking of Torrey Pines,
we're gonna. This is in their tournament, the Holiday Classic, La Jolla Country Day, taking on Torrey Pines at Torrey Pines, even though it's a technically neutral site game. I'm going to go with La Jolla Country Day.
Wow.
that's actually not that hard of a pick because you could make a great case
No,
for either one of these.
It's a hard pick. Here's the thing: if this is a regular season game, I think it's a little bit different. But the kids all break and everything like that. It's not really going to be that same home court advantage. So I'm going to take La Jolla Country Day in this one.
Yes, it will be the same home court advantage. Torrey Pines, even when they have when they're the host of their tournament, their games are always filled to the brim. I'm going to pick Torrey Pines in this one. Again, size matters. And while Matt Bender is, a very improved sophomore, Jake Gilliam is off to a really good start. And Ethan Esposito, it's not Esposito, Esposito also provides them another interior challenge for La Jolla Country Day at 6'6" and plenty athletic. So I'm going to pick the home team. What was the hashtag? Go Falcons?
Hashtag Falcons win.
Hashtag Falcons win.
Hashtag Falcons
Yeah,
win.
size matter. We learned that in the last podcast. That size matter.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we learned last time. We're going to learn one thing every single podcast. Yeah.
I am going to agree with you, Aaron. I think that this one smacks of two things for me. Torrey Pines wants to win at the Holiday Classic.
Of course.
This is a big-time program boosting event for them, so they want to win on their home court, so they're going to win on their home court. But this also, to me, feels like the growing up moment for Country Day, where they come in ready to go. They're going to give Torrey Pines everything. I think this is going to come down to like a 4-point game. They'll still be in it in the fourth, but then Country Day makes the adjustments necessary after the game. They learn from it, they grow from it, and then Country Day starts to be a really scary team the rest of the season, taking that one lump, saying, we lost a little bit because of this and that and the other. Coach Meyer makes great adjustments. This game works out in both teams' favors.
Win-win.
I still got Fayette Torreys, don't worry. The only one so far. In our last game, also part of that little thing over there, Torrey Pines. I don't know what they call it. It's called it's no big deal, right? Just a little tiny. Yeah, just a little tiny.
Armor.
Yeah, just
a lot of
yeah.
shirts and
Just some teams that no one's heard of, obviously. Foothills Christian and Saints. I'm gonna go with Foothills Christian. I'm at number 1. I can't pick against them all year. Saw the same thing last year. What do you think, Aaron?
This game is going to be a lot tighter than I think a lot of people are going to, give them credit for. It's not going to be a blowout. Let's just get something straight. Mike Haupt, is one of the 2 best coaches in San Diego. The other one is John Olive at Torrey Pines. Last year's matchup was really difficult for them when they played Foothills Christian because of TJ Leaf's experience versus, Tayshawn Cherry's, young emergence. Tayshawn Cherry wasn't really ready to handle TJ Leaf in the middle, which meant that Saints were, had to collapse down to help, which is what Foothills wants you to do. Collapse on TJ, he kicks it out. Shooters, rain threes. They blew them out of the gym. I don't think this is a blowout. I think this team is prepared and experienced to handle Foothills Christian. But with that said, I'm still picking the Knights in a close game. Again, when it comes down to it, you've got to give the ball to one person in San Diego. Who are you going to give it to? You're going to give it to Jalen Hands. So if this game comes down to the last few minutes of the game, will St. Augustine be able to stop Jalen Hands? I don't think they'll be able to enough. I think it's a close one, and I think Foothills wins it.
That's a lot of words to say Foothills wins.
Okay, so that'll do it for today. That's the end of this podcast. Guys, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, I just had a really good experience this weekend at the High Academic Camp that was held by West Coast Elite and Ryan Silver of Earl Watson Elite. Really good message out of that, telling kids that it's not just about, Division I or bust, and to take care of business in the classroom. I've seen already this season far too many teams that have been impacted by academic issues by one or several of their star players. So for everyone out there, this is about life after the sport that you play in high school. So, get straight with your books and make sure that, you're doing as well in the classroom as you are on the court.
Christian?
I would just say amen to all that, academics, because you're a student athlete, all important. For just the general year goes, if there's anything you ever want us to talk about, any games you want us to cover, any players you want to see us talking to, anything like that, tweet us, email us. We are completely open. We want to make this a back and forth with you, San Diego.
And be brutally honest. I mean, I think somebody called you Opie this week on Twitter.
We put the G in Gumps. Yeah.
Right.
So let's make this a back and forth. If there's anything that you want us to talk about or stop talking about, let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess for the first one, size matters. Second one, do your homework. Yeah.
Yes, do your homework.
Everybody,
please
turn this off. Do your homework.
# do your homework.
We out.
Cool.
Phone is on
loud and vibe. Okay. I want everyone to know how cool I am when I get a bunch of text messages, so I keep my phone on loud.
You're gonna be Chris Smith having your Twitter blow up in the background.
Yeah.
Of the
podcast.
Like that guy who's got the aux cord on and the music keeps like.
I'm a huge aux cord guy. Are we recording?